When we talk about the rivalry between Iran and Israel, there is one issue that elevates it from a regional conflict to a global crisis: Iran's nuclear program. For Iran, it's a matter of national sovereignty and technological pride. For Israel, it's a potential existential threat. And for the rest of the world, it's one of the most dangerous security dilemmas of our time. The core problem with nuclear technology is its dual-use nature. The same science that powers cities and advances medicine can also be used to build a weapon. This is what makes the nuclear file the most explosive chapter in the entire Iran-Israel conflict. To truly understand what's at stake, we need to separate the facts from the fear and the politics from the science. Nuclear programs aren't automatically weapons programs. Many countries operate peaceful nuclear facilities under strict international rules. Iran itself has been a party to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty since 1970, placing its activities under the watch of the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA. Iran insists its program is for peaceful purposes only, but Israel looks at the bigger picture: the hostile rhetoric, the network of regional proxies, and the advancing missile technology. From a security standpoint, when an adversary moves closer to nuclear capability, you have to plan for the worst-case scenario. This is the heart of the tension. It's not just about what Iran is doing today, but what it could do tomorrow if its political calculations change. The dispute became a global crisis after 2002, with the public revelation of undeclared nuclear facilities at Natanz and Arak. This discovery shattered trust and put Iran's program under an international microscope. Suddenly, it was no longer just a national project. It became a complex web of IAEA inspections, diplomatic negotiations, crippling economic sanctions, and intense political maneuvering in both Tehran and Western capitals. Iran argues it has a right to peaceful nuclear technology and that the pressure is politically motivated. Western powers, citing past secrecy, argue that strict oversight is non-negotiable. And Israel maintains that even the possibility of a weaponized Iran is an unacceptable risk in such a volatile region. This is where the IAEA comes in. As the world's nuclear watchdog, its job isn't to take sides, but to verify. The agency monitors declared nuclear material, ensures compliance with safeguards, and reports its findings. In the case of Iran, its monitoring role is especially extensive. In theory, this verification should reduce uncertainty and build confidence. But when trust breaks down, as it has in this conflict, every technical report becomes a political weapon. One side claims it's peaceful, the other says it can't be trusted, and the IAEA's data is pulled into the political fray. After years of tension, a breakthrough seemed possible. In 2015, the world witnessed the creation of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. This landmark agreement was struck between Iran and the world's major powers. The concept was simple. In exchange for relief from sanctions, Iran would accept significant, verifiable limits on its nuclear activities. The deal was designed to increase the breakout time, the time it would take to produce enough material for a weapon, and expand inspector access. Supporters hailed it as the most robust verification regime ever negotiated. But critics, most vocally Israel, argued it was a temporary fix that didn't address Iran's missile program or regional behavior, and ultimately left a pathway for Iran to resume its work later on. Even at its high point, the deal reduced immediate risks but couldn't resolve the deep-seated rivalry. To grasp Israel's position, you have to understand its security doctrine. As a small country with limited strategic depth, it has always prioritized deterrence and prevention. From an Israeli perspective, a nuclear-capable Iran wouldn't just be a direct threat. It would fundamentally change the balance of power in the Middle East. Israel fears a nuclear umbrella effect, where a nuclear Iran would feel emboldened to increase support for its proxies and act more aggressively, knowing that any direct retaliation would be far riskier for its adversaries. For Israeli leaders, this isn't a distant, theoretical problem. It's a strategic nightmare that they frame in existential terms. The JCPOA stability, however, was short-lived. A major turning point came in May 2018, when the United States announced its withdrawal from the agreement and reimposed harsh sanctions. This move triggered the deal's unraveling. Trust collapsed, and diplomacy stalled. In response, starting in 2019, Iran began to systematically reduce its own commitments under the deal. This created a dangerous feedback loop. American pressure led to Iranian nuclear advancements, which in turn led to more international fear and pressure. As diplomacy weakened, the shadow war intensified. Covert actions, sabotage, and cyber operations became the new tools for both sides to slow down the other's progress, without triggering an all-out war. This brings us to the central strategic dilemma. Is the goal deterrence or prevention? Deterrence logic suggests that if Iran acquires a certain level of nuclear capability, it would be less likely to be attacked, because any enemy would fear a devastating retaliation. Prevention logic, from Israel's point of view, dictates that if Iran is allowed to cross a certain threshold, it might become impossible to stop it later. Therefore, acting to prevent it becomes a matter of urgency. These two logics are on a collision course, and in this supercharged atmosphere, a small event, a new IAEA report, a diplomatic dispute, a regional skirmish could trigger a catastrophic escalation. The nuclear issue, therefore, magnifies every other aspect of the Iran-Israel conflict. Proxy warfare becomes more dangerous. Missile development becomes more terrifying. Cyber attacks become more critical. It's the pressure cooker that could cause the entire regional pot to boil over. Because once the nuclear file is on the table, both sides start thinking in worst-case scenarios. If Iran gets too close, Israel may feel it has no choice but to act. If Israel acts, Iran may feel it must retaliate. And if the retaliation spreads, a regional war becomes a very real possibility. Iran insists its program is peaceful, legal, and a sovereign right. Israel views a nuclear-capable Iran as an existential threat that must be stopped. Caught in the middle is a fragile system of international diplomacy and verification, struggling to manage a crisis where fear often outweighs facts. The nuclear standoff is not just another technical dispute. It's the most dangerous piece on the board, with the power to change the rules of the game forever. In our next episode, we'll move from the halls of diplomacy to the hidden battlefields of the shadow war. We'll explore the world of Stuxnet, covert operations, and targeted killings, the secret intelligence war both sides are waging to control the nuclear timeline. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for our next deep dive.